Hey guys, welcome to Food is Good. And today we're going to be talking about chicken. I remember this time I was going through the airport, Atlanta airport, pray for me, right? So I was going through Atlanta airport, some of the best food I had there. One of those dishes that really stuck with me was this rosemary garlic chicken. And it was amazing. I ate that chicken on the plane as it was flying. I don't care if the whole cabin smelled like it. It was good. I know my wife, I talked to her about it. She remembered that I think it was flying out to Atlanta, flying out to Dallas, somewhere like that. But anyway, so I'm going to do a rendition of that dish right there. We're going to pair that dish also with some fried okra and some scalloped potatoes. And I'll talk to you in a little bit the difference between scalloped potatoes and au gratin potatoes. Real similar, a couple of things that set them apart. So I'm Caesar. It's going to be great. See you in a second. So guys, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start on our potatoes, and we're going to do scalloped potatoes. And like I said, I was going to tell you the difference. The only difference between au gratin potatoes and scalloped potatoes is au gratin potatoes have more cheese and breadcrumbs on it. Scalloped potatoes, not as much cheese and no breadcrumbs. They both have the same creamy sauce. The procedures can be about the same. What I like to do with my potatoes is I'm going to go ahead and peel these potatoes up right here, and then we're going to cut these potatoes. And then we're going to put them in milk, simmer them. Now that you can do it a little different. You can put them in a not saute dish, but you can put them in a baking dish and let them cook in the oven with the cream on top of it. But you're going to have to cook them a lot longer doing them that way. Doing it this way right here, you're going to cut your cooking time down, not quite in half, but pretty close to in half. Because simmering the potatoes on the stove, it's going to do the work for you. Okay? So I'm just peeling some potatoes. We're going to peel 2 potatoes up. I'm going to go ahead and peel these potatoes up right here. Be sure to cut that part off right there. I'm going to go ahead and get my milk right here. And got that on like a simmer. Right there, right here. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel my second potato. And what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of make these personalized scalloped potatoes. So instead of putting them in a baking or a casserole dish, I'm going to put them in like little personal, small casserole dishes. Kind of give a little personal touch to it. Definitely going to appreciate that. The person you're cooking for, my wife's definitely going to appreciate that. I'm going to do this right here and just peel them here. Now I'm going to clean some of these, put some of this over here to the side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right here and just cut that part off. It's questionable. I'm going to cut these about this thick right here. You don't want them too thin. You want them to hold up to the simmering and baking them in the oven. The same thing with this one. And we're going to put them in the milk and just let the milk do the magic. Having a sharp knife is very important. So, just going to take this, just put it in the milk. Right there. So we got that in the milk. We're just going to let it simmer for a while. And while that's doing that, we're going to go ahead and get this cutting board out the way, and we'll be right back. So guys, like I said earlier, with this procedure right here where you're actually simmering the potatoes in the milk, the only thing I would say is just keep an eye on the milk. You don't want it to scorch at the bottom. You don't want it to separate, but you do want these potatoes to be tender. So we've just stirred them. They're fine. We're going to go ahead and start on our chicken. So we're going to go ahead and mix in our rosemary, our garlic, and our chicken. It's going to be great. So we're going to go ahead and pull out the chicken. And what we're going to do with this chicken right here, really simple recipe. we're going to go ahead and take our thighs. I like chicken thighs just because it has fat. I want to say built into it, but it has a lot of fat in it already. So I like using chicken thighs. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those chicken thighs and we're just going to incorporate a little thyme, rosemary. I'm going to cheat this time, guys. I'm going to use a little minced garlic. You can always take your garlic, peel it, smash it, chop it up. You can do that. And I've done both of them. You guys know that. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chicken in the bowl. And we're going to start incorporating this with the olive oil and salt, pepper to taste, right? Got to do that. So we're going to put our chicken in here, right here. It's a really good dish right here. So a little olive oil right here. A little thyme. And the recipes are on the website and definitely in the cookbook to come, okay? So a little thyme right here. A little rosemary. And like I say, I had this recipe when I was coming through the airport in in Atlanta, which is really good. Really good. And we're just going to stir this up right here. Get it incorporated really well. Now, this is one of those dishes you can also do ahead. If you want to do this dish and put it in the refrigerator covered in plastic or film for, an hour, a couple hours, even overnight if you want to. I think the longer you let it sit, the more intense the flavors are going to be. Definitely going to crack some pepper in it. Some black pepper here. And we're going to put a little salt in there. You don't want to oversalt it. So a lot of my recipes are salt, pepper to taste. I'm just going to stir those up. Incorporate them really good. Milk simmering, coming along. I'm going to go ahead and take my pan right here and just put my chicken on there. I like the skin because if you do it right, the skin will crisp up. It's really good. Now you are going to get some shrinkage on this chicken here. Definitely going to get some shrinkage on this chicken. We're going to take this, put this to the side, and get this chicken in the oven. So it's cooking in the oven for 350. Just change this right here. So while that chicken's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. Didn't really touch the chicken, but never can be too safe. So we got this here. So now we're going to jump right back on our scalloped potatoes. I think they're really good. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take them. I've already greased 2 dishes here. I'm just going to pull these potatoes out and start placing them in the dish. Now you can do this in a casserole dish, but I'm cooking for 2. So if you're cooking for 4, and a lot of recipes are for 4, but on this right here, we're just cooking for 2. So we're going to put our potatoes in here. Right here. And we're going to cover this. I'm going to go ahead and make a roux, flour, butter, or bechamel. Flour, butter, cream, milk. This constitutes a bechamel. And I am going to thicken this up. So I'm going to take this and just sit it to the side for a second. And we're going to take same part butter, same part flour, cook it just for a second, cook some of that flour taste out of it, add this roux to this milk right here, pour this milk across this right here, garnish it, put it in the oven. It's a wrap on this one. So we're going to go ahead and put a little butter in there. And then we're going to add same parts flour. So this is cooking, melting, I mean. And now we're going to go ahead and take a little flour right here. Not that much. Like I said, same part flour, same part butter. I'm going to thicken this up or cook this a little. Cook it just a little. You're not trying to, there's different phases of a roux. We're trying to keep it light, but we also want to cook some of the flour out of it. And I'm going to add this milk to this. Change to a whisk here. And you can tell it's starting to thicken up. I'm going to add a tad bit more milk to it. Take this and stick it to the side. A little salt, a little pepper. Let's go ahead and turn this off. And I'm just going to pour it across my potatoes. Actually, right here. I'm going to garnish it with a little cheese, a little cheddar cheese. And then I'm going to add a little Parmesan to it. Just a little Parmesan. Hey, if it ain't cheesy, don't go down easy, right? A little parsley, dry parsley. I'm going to put this in the oven, let it do its thing, check on the chicken, be right back. So guys, scalloped potatoes are in the oven, doing its thing. Chicken's in the oven. I can actually hear it. It's smelling good. I don't know if you can smell it here. Actually, I do know you cannot smell it here, but it smells really good here. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about okra. Okra is one of those dishes. I have to say, if there's a dish that people love when they used to come to the restaurant, and that was our fried okra or our fried catfish. Fried okra was amazing. It's still amazing. It's still one of our most popular dishes. We go through a lot of fried okra. I'm going to show you guys how to do it from scratch. So we're going to take some raw okra, and if it's fresh, you can do it. Make sure you cut it the right size. Or if it's frozen, you can do it also, because that grease that you're going to use and that oil you're going to be using is hot enough, it'll get the job done. I like to fry in canola oil. You can fry in vegetable oil, but my oil of choice is definitely canola. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and take my okra out the refrigerator, and then I'm going to start building how I'm going to fry it up, and you'll see it. So give me a second. So I'm just going to grab this okra. And with the okra, there's a couple of different ways. With everything I say, there's a couple of different ways. I actually have this cookbook that I'm going to work on, and it's called 10, and it's called Ways to Cook a Lot of Different Things. So I'll say a lot of times there's a lot of different ways to do it, but how we're going to do this okra this time is we're going to take our buttermilk, and we're going to pour our buttermilk in our okra. So now that we got our buttermilk in our okra, I'm just going to stir it up. And normally you can do a dry, wet, dry, but we're just going to take our buttermilk, pour it in our okra, let that sit there for a second. I'm going to put this here. We're going to start building our breading. Now, when I'm doing cornbread, I like to use a white cornmeal, but when I'm making hush puppies, I like to use a darker yellow cornmeal. When I'm frying fish, I like to use a yellow cornmeal, but when I'm frying okra, I like to use a white cornmeal. No rhyme or reason. I just like it that way. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to take our white cornmeal and we're going to take our white lily all-purpose flour. We're going to blend those two together because I feel like if you just do straight cornmeal, it's going to be very coarse. So I like to cut it. Same way if I'm doing my cornbread, same way if I'm doing my hush puppies. Not when I do my fish though. I like to cut it so it's not as coarse. So I'm going to take my cornmeal, my flour, hit it with a little salt, a little pepper, and we're going to start frying it. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this on, go over to the pantry, and pull out my oil so it'll be getting hot. So we're going to come right over here. I'm going to take a little canola oil. And like I said, guys, we get a lot of our products, if not a lot, all of our products that we use on this show, especially our meats, we get those things from Publix. Publix is such a great store. They're really good by helping your local businesses, supporting your local businesses. We're thankful. We like supporting them also. So if you're in the area, which they're all down south, definitely check them out. This is what we cook with. So I'm going to go ahead and put my oil in here. About a third of the way. About like that. Let that get hot. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the shelf in the pantry. And then we're going to start building our breading. I'll go here. So like I said earlier, we're going to cut it with cornmeal. A little all-purpose flour. And I've said so many times, if you're using all-purpose flour, obviously you're going to have to add salt and pepper to it. The salt, pepper here. I'm also going to add just a little smoked paprika to it, or paprika to it. And add a little garlic to it also. I remember a chef told me a long time ago when I was first coming up, he said every good chef or cook at that time uses garlic. Didn't quite know what he meant because I definitely wasn't there yet, but I use so many different types of garlic and use garlic in so many dishes here. So we got this mixed in. And we're just going to go from wet to dry to our oil. I don't think this oil's ready yet, though. So the oil's definitely not ready. I'm going to cut it up a little bit more because you definitely want the oil to be hot, because if it's not hot, whatever you're frying is going to absorb more oil, and that's not what you want. So we got this up right here. Right here. I'm going to go ahead and check my chicken. Oh, it smells good. It smells good. Chicken's smelling good, looking good. Now, you definitely want to cook that chicken to 165. If it has a bone in it, you definitely want to do 165. Make sure that chicken's done. You may need to cook it a little bit longer. Make sure you get down along the side of the bone, because nobody wants to eat raw chicken, right? So definitely check that chicken before you serve it. Just a little note. So I'm going to go ahead and stir my oil just a little. It's definitely getting hot. Let's test it again. Not quite. Almost there. I'd be curious to know, how often do you eat okra? Growing up, we ate fried okra a lot growing up in Mobile, Alabama. It was one of those things my dad would cook all the time. Along with red beans and rice, fried catfish. We ate that stuff all the time. So I like to think I'm pretty good at frying okra. So it's coming along right here. Let's test it again. I think it's about ready. I can almost hear it simmering. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to take it from here to here and just put it here. There's a rule that says one hand wet, one hand dry. I'm going to attempt that. We'll see if it works out. So that's definitely hot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start putting my okra in my breader. You want to get it breaded really good. Yeah, it's just like that. Just like that. Put a little bit more in here. I think we're I think the oil's about ready. I'm gonna put a little bit more in here. Trying to use up a lot of that breader. You don't want to put too much in there because you don't want to crowd your breader. And then I'm almost tempted to stick that hand in there. It's so tempting. You don't want to crowd that breader and then you don't get the right coating on your okra. So I think we about got it here. Get back in there. Right here. So now let's go ahead and start dropping it. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna use this hand just a little. And you can hear it frying. And that's what you want. Yeah. You don't want to crowd your skillet either. I don't think we will. I think we about the right ratio here. Oil to okra. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get this out the way, wash my hands, and get that okra ready. I can hear the okra over here. Kind of get this out the way here. Okay. And let's stir this okra up. Definitely can hear it frying. Fried okra. Now you don't want to stir it up too much because you want the breader to stay on it. So I think it's looking nice. So we're just gonna let it do its thing there. The oil's definitely cooking. I'm gonna go ahead and get our plate ready. I'm gonna line that plate with a little napkins to absorb the extra oil because you don't want to pull it off, put it in a pot, put it in a plate, and it's sitting in oil. I think it'll kill the dish. So guys, we're gonna go ahead, sit that there. Like I said, we're gonna put our okra on top of that, let the napkin or the paper towel absorb the oil. Sure, everybody knows that. It's almost there. We just wanted to get a little harder. So while that's frying, I'm gonna go ahead and check the chicken. Chicken is definitely looking good, almost there. So just clean this up right here. Yes, definitely. Light and fluffy. I don't know if you want to be light and fluffy, but light and crunchy is what you're going for. And it's almost definitely cooking there. You know. Whenever I hear fried okra, I think about fried okra, I think about cornbread. So cornbread and fried chicken, nice pinto beans with little onions on top of it. I think about that stuff. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this okra off because it's ready and I don't want it to overcook. Some people like their okra a little hard though. I don't know if I like mine that way. I don't like it slimy either, let me just say that. I'll pour this okra off. And it's kind of, this is what we would call lightly breaded. If we would have did a double breader, then it would have been more of a heavy breader. But this is more of a light breaded, light and crispy. I'm gonna pull it off right here. It's looking good. Get all this okra on there. I can smell it. It definitely smells good right here. And when I pull it off, I'm going to go ahead and hit it just across the top with just a little salt, not a whole lot. Right here. Get it all off here. Okay. Almost got it. Right here. And last bit, the bit of it right here. I feel like I'm fishing, fishing okra. So, got this here. okra here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. I'm gonna hit it with just a little salt across the top of it, not too much of it, just like this, right here. So okra's done. Let's go ahead and check this right here. Chicken is about done. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up, and when we come back, we're gonna start plating it. See you in a second. So guys, okra looks really good. Wow, that's hot. Scallop potatoes, looking amazing. Let's try the chicken. And here's our chicken right here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and plate up this dish. We're gonna start off with chicken. The scallop potatoes. Actually. Oh. Looks good, amazing, hot. And then we're gonna finish it off with a little fried okra right over here. Guys, this has to be one of my favorite dishes right here. I just love some rosemary chicken. Right here. So let's. So guys, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna try this right here. Cut into these potatoes right here. Definitely tender. Hot, good. Oh my God, that's so good. Think of here. Chicken's good. Lots of flavor, man. Let's try this fried okra here. All right, really good. Very hot though. Guys, this is amazing. Definitely try this dish. I'm gonna get to eating. And like I say every week, food is good, God is great, and every day is a blessing. See you next week.